The American voter and consumer has spoken about Donald Trump's chaotic first 5 weeks, and it's a resounding rejection for a failing Trump administration. With the Consumer Confidence Index at its lowest point in 4 years, prices rising, not falling, and consumers worried about an unstable set of policies aimed at trying to help the economy, but doing the opposite. I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF. Let's dive into it. Donald Trump said that on day one, that day one was 5 weeks ago, prices would immediately drop. In fact, there was so much enthusiasm and confidence for the businessman in chief being back in office that there was a temporary blip of consumer confidence, but that has now crashed. We are now at the lowest level in 4 years. In terms of some of the index, we are 10 points or more behind where we were with Joe Biden in the U.S. index of consumer sentiment. We're now at 64.7. We were at 76.9 under Biden. It's dropped over 10% in the last month, and that's all on Trump's watch. It's down 16% over a year. To answer the question that Donald Trump liked to ask on the campaign trail, do consumers and people think they're better off now since Donald Trump has been elected? No, and not by a long shot. What does all this mean? It means the Federal Reserve, run by Jay Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is watching closely as consumer sentiment is one of the driving factors and their willingness to spend on the health of our economy. Well, Donald Trump pulls back on the benchmark, on the monetary policy, on the fiscal policy, the treasury rates start to rise, consumer sentiment starts to fall, tariffs start to go on our import partners that represent over 40 to 50% of our trade. What does that mean? It means the economy is on the precipice of not doing well under Donald Trump. I'm not wishing it on the American people. I'm part of the American people. The American economy is part of my economy. I'm just stating the obvious. Donald Trump lied as part of his campaign promise that people voted for him thinking it would lower the prices of things. Prices have gone up 0.5 percentage point in the Consumer Price Index, one of the largest jumps in the last 4 years. Falling by a lot, like the bottom fell out of consumer confidence, rising prices, uncertainty about tariffs, uncertainty created in the world economy because of Donald Trump. Europeans being skittish, Chinese, South Koreans, Japanese. That means, what's the technical term for this? Their sphincter closes and they stop spending. If the world stops spending in response to Donald Trump, that is not just bad for the global economy. That is bad for the American economy. Now, look, I'm going to use my Wall Street experience here. As people know, I was a managing director of a Wall Street firm and global head of litigation. Got a little bit of experience in this area, being able to analyze markets and its impact on consumer confidence and the rest. When you have all of these factors going into the world economy and the U.S. economy, the result is a negative impact on American voters, mainly in the red states. And these are the wake-up calls. Now that people realize, like the scales have dropped from their eyes, that what they voted for was really the charlatan that we told them that they were voting for. He had no interest in helping the American people. The entire legacy that he's working on right now is to reshape the relationship between the government and the U.S. people in a way that makes the government not accountable to the U.S. people and to the voters, in a way that destroys the social contract and the social safety net, to reward billionaires, to allow them to buy bigger and longer yachts, not to make you have better opportunities for your children, for food prices, for your health care, for your rent. He has no interest in that whatsoever. Look at the people in his government. It is the wealthiest amount of cabinet members we've ever had. Billionaires. Elon Musk alone is worth $450 to $500 billion. And others continue, millionaires and billionaires, making decisions to help themselves. All they're focused on are certain benchmark treasury treasury bond rates to help them. That's all they're focused on. And Donald Trump creating as much wealth for his family and transfer as much wealth into his family in the 4 years that he has left as possible. His main goal for winning and running in the election had nothing to do with helping you and me or the populist message, the phony populist message that he ran on. It has everything to do to avoid going to jail. He said it recently at CPAC. He said his life would have been very hard and nasty had he not won the election, meaning he ran in order to avoid prison. So avoiding prison and then rewarding his people that were his benefactors, like Elon Musk, that is his sole responsibility and legacy. And the quicker we make his time horizon as short as possible with the midterm elections to return stability to the government, the better it is for the economy, the better it is for you and me. Those people that care about our economic security, your own personal economic security, cannot in good conscience continue to follow and support Donald Trump. The market has spoken. Donald Trump's got to look at the numbers. If he doesn't understand it, I don't know, go talk to, don't do a press conference. Don't talk to billionaires and millionaires. Listen to what's happening in the town halls around America, where people primarily in red states are having voters' remorse and buyer's remorse of having supported Donald Trump because his administration is doing nothing to help them. That's why in the recent Pew Charitable Trust or Pew poll, we've got consumer confidence not only low, but 67 to 70% of people believe Donald Trump's not doing a darn thing to help them. And it's starting to seep into the water table and ending up in the stock market. Stock market is just one index. The one that matters to me more is not necessarily the stock market, because most people, frankly, aren't in the stock market. They're not in the 401k world. They're worried about check to check, how to pay their bills, right? How to pay for an elderly loved one who's fallen ill, how to support their children at the same time, how to give them a better life than they may have had themselves through education, through healthcare, through government programs. See, Donald Trump wants everybody to be an entrepreneur on the Celebrity Apprentice, but 99.999% of the people don't have that ability. That doesn't make them any less of an American, any less of a hardworking, salt of the earth person. It just means this government is not built to help you. And you should recognize and realize that now. Certainly, that is what the Consumer Sentiment Index is starting to tell us as those numbers begin to plummet. And Donald Trump hasn't even implemented all the tariffs yet. Destabilize the world economy, make them not willing to spend, not willing to trade with the United States. The United States cannot go it alone. We don't have enough consumers to buy enough products to make our country not dependent on global trade. Let me repeat that. There are not enough consuming Americans with enough money and enough consumer confidence to consume and purchase all that our American factories, service providers, and others generate. We can't absorb it all. It has to go into the global market. But Donald Trump doesn't see it that way, right? If you fire federal workers and you try to cut 1 million federal workers and put them on unemployment rolls, on state rolls, what do you think that's going to do to consumer confidence? They are themselves consumers, and you just put them out of business. So if you take federal employee consumers out of the equation, you don't have the U.S. government funding at the state and local level, putting money into taxpayers' hands. You cut off foreign aid, and behind every dollar of foreign aid is a U.S. business supplying it or employee supplying it. If you do all that all at the same time, what's going to happen? You wreck the economy permanently, and you lead to plummeting consumer confidence, which only leads in a cycle to an undermined U.S. economy. That's what we're getting. That's what we're seeing. I'm going to continue to report on it right here. You're on Legal AF already. Hit the blue subscribe button. Help us continue our march to 500,000 subscribers in the next 2 weeks, on our way to 1 million before the year is over. I'll continue to do my reporting and I'll curate this channel for you, Legal AF, with your support at the intersection of law and politics, providing analysis and commentary like no other. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.